That is exactly what that catechist was doing. Before a stumbling block was put in his path. So he called me and I told him, you keep doing what you're doing until you're fired.
Of course.
Because what you're doing is what is right. But just to think about that. So that's why we need to study these things, so that if someone gets in the way, we know for sure that we are right and they are wrong. But if we don't know these things, we may say, oh, well, you know, so and so said. They're in charge of the program. Whatever, okay? You can be in charge of the program, but you are not supposed to be in charge of heresy. So if you're in charge of heresy, I'm not going to listen to you, whoever you are, because I know the principles that govern our faith. But if we don't know those principles, then we can be misled. No, because, you know, well, we were told to follow this. No one has a right to command us to follow error, to teach what is wrong. No one has the authority to do that. And if we know the truth, then we are in a better position to defend ourselves and to defend others who could be misled by ideologues, Pharisees of our time. Hey, then, okay, paragraph 7, again continuing with the decree on the apostolate of the laity. God's plan for the world is that men should work together to renew and constantly perfect the temporal order, to work together. John chapter 17 basically prays for this, unity. All those things which make up the temporal order, namely the good things of life and the prosperity of the family, culture, economic matters, the arts and professions, the laws of the political community, international relations, and other matters of this kind, as well as their development and progress, not only aid in the attainment of man's ultimate goal, but also possess their own intrinsic value. This value has been established in them by God, whether they are considered in themselves or as parts of the whole temporal order. God saw that all he had made was very good. Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. This natural goodness of theirs takes on a special dignity as a result of their relation to the human person, for whose service they were created. This natural goodness of theirs takes on a special dignity as a result of their relation to the human person, for whose service they were created. Material creation, was made to serve humans, not the other way around. Okay? So it has pleased God to unite all things, both natural and supernatural, in Christ Jesus. It has pleased God to unite all things, both natural and supernatural, in Christ Jesus, so that in all things he may have the first place. Colossians chapter 1, verse 18. This destination, however, not only does not deprive the temporal order of its independence, its proper goals, laws, supports, and significance for human welfare, but rather perfects the temporal order in its own intrinsic strength and worth, and puts it on a level with man's whole vocation upon earth. So, basically, what the church is explaining here are these two principles right here: faith and reason. God gave us the natural gifts, and reason is one of those natural gifts. Reason and will, they are natural gifts. So every human who is conceived naturally has intellect and will. So those are natural gifts. So that natural gift has led us to know how to organize ourselves, socially, politically, you name it. This arts, the sciences, as the church mentions, all those things. So all those things have value. Why? Because the natural gifts God has given to us have value. God declared them very good. So nature is not evil. Nature is good. Material things are not evil. They are very good because God made them so and declared them very good. Usually the confusion comes when we say things are bad. No, things are not bad. As we said before, tell me how many people money have ever killed. Tell me that money killed this person and this person and this person. Has money ever killed anyone? Yes. Has money ever killed anyone? No. No. It is greedy people who have killed people for money. But money is an object. Money can't even move itself. It can't walk, it can't hear, it can't talk. So, but it's a thing, it's a good thing we use in terms of, trade. But it's not a bad thing. So material things are not bad. It is our disordered attachment to them that makes us evil. Amen. But the goods of creation remain good. They are goods of creation. And so we have always to look at it from that point of view. Technology. Technology is very good. Let's begin with human reason. Human reason is very good. But unfortunately, because of human sin, all the goods of creation can be abused and indeed have been abused. And so humans, some of us use our reason well, some of us abuse our reason and abuse the very giver of the gift using the very gift he has given to us. For example, atheism. Atheists, they use the very gift of reason to abuse the God of reason, that he doesn't exist, or God is whatever it is. So we can abuse gifts, but the abuse doesn't mean that the gift is bad. Some of us can abuse the human will, whereby God gave us that faculty to be attracted to him as goodness. So to be attracted to the good. So some of us use that gift well and do good, be attracted to the good. Some of us abuse the gift of human will and be attracted to evil. Does that mean that the human will is bad? No. But it can be abused by intelligent beings, by abusing their intellect and their will. So we have always to look at that. The natural gifts are good. The way we organize ourselves is good, but it's not like, perfect. It has to grow toward perfection. Technology is good. Human medicine is good. So we can't be here enjoying electricity and air conditioning and then castigating and insulting scientists. All of us arrived here today not on horses. We came driving. And so we cannot abuse scientists and at the same time, or curse science, and at the same time enjoy the benefits of science. I remember there was a cardinal in the Catholic Church who said during COVID that some of those COVID vaccines are embedded with the devil. I don't know what he said. And then, boo, he got COVID. And when he got COVID, he went in front of the tabernacle to pray. No, he went to hospital. Okay, so ideological thinking. So God gave us this, and he didn't do wrong to go to the hospital, but the problem was that he was castigating and insulting science, which is God's gift to us, the gift of intellect. Go and subdue the earth. Now, can science be abused? Yes. Has it been abused? Yes. Does that mean it's very bad? No. Just as reason has been abused, doesn't mean that reason is bad.
So what do you think of
AI? AI? It is very good, but again, it will be subject to a lot of abuse. So that's why we need regulation right away. But again, because of greed and money, probably regulation will be a little bit difficult. but it needs to be regulated. And the regulators are Congress. And if Congress can't come up with a budget to run the country, you expect them to come up with a legislation, AI, I don't know. Maybe they will, but it's a very good tool. Okay? So, do you have your cell phones?
Yes.
Just put in this word. Just to put in that word, Theotokos. Just in your phones. Just write that word, Theotokos, and go search. Okay? Yeah. We call it Theotokos, but Theotokos. Theo is God. Okay? Theotokos. Just to put in that word. Like you just sit somewhere, you don't know what it means. You get up your phone and you put in that word. What comes up? AI. Search. Did it come AI? Okay, you just put in Theotokos AI, and AI will bring a lot of information about it very quickly. So if we use it for the right purpose, it is very good. It is very good. Then after that, from AI, then you have to go to Catholic.com to make sure that what AI said is true. Okay, but it can quickly give you just information, just like that. Yours didn't find it?
When I did AI, it finally did.
Yeah.
How ironic, it says it's not a recognized concept. But then, just below it, it says, meaning God-bearer or mother of God.
Yes. So it can give you quick information. Yes. And then after that, you can go to Catholic.com and all the documents to search more. But so that's how good some of these tools are. Okay? They're very, very good. But they're subject also to bad people abusing it for bad purposes. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Okay. So Mother Church saying that if we are believers, yes, we have to appreciate the gifts of creation, but for the right purpose. Because we know that we are not slaves of creation, but we are masters of creation. And we are masters that creation may assist us to arrive at God. So if we divorce these two, then we are going to abuse creation as well. But if faith enlightens reason, then reason is going to use the good gifts of creation for salvation. So that's what we always have to keep in mind. That, yes, we have the temporal order, and you have to make it better. And the only way we can make it better is by bringing those Catholic principles into it, Christian principles into it, primarily charity and reconciliation. Peace, reconciliation, charity, justice. So that we can use the good gifts of creation the right way. That's what Jesus means when he talks about, I'm poor, hungry, thirsty, naked, a stranger, ill, in prison, and you come to my aid. Use the good gifts of creation for the purpose it was given. Be just to one another. Be charitable to one another. Be peaceful, and so on and so forth. So that's what a Mother Church teaches us. So we, the lay people, okay, the people of God, Laos, the people of God, have a lot to do in this area. Because they infiltrate every work of life. Every work of life. We are there. You are there. And so, how many Catholics, like Christians, do we have in Congress? Look it up, AI. How many of the congressmen we have are Christians? You just put in that. How many of the Congress, not just the senator, but Congress, okay? The whole of it. How many of them are Christians? You can also find out how many of them are Catholic. So if they were there and really knew what the mission of Christianity is, and they were there to apply it, things would be different. How many?
145.
Pardon?
148.
One?
148 Catholic members of Congress.
148 Catholic. What about Christians? Like in general, if you say Christians in general.
455.
And how many members are there in Congress total? So Christians, they said how many?
461. Yeah, well,
400?
56 roses.
And the whole of Congress is made up of how many members? Both the Senate and the House.
600, close to 600. 450.
Okay, so think about it. Oh,
Portland is 85.
how many?
85.
How many?
85. 5%. 535 is the...
No, you're talking about the percentage of Christians, right?
Yeah.
It's 85%.
Yeah.
Okay?
530.
85% Christians in Congress. 535 is the total. Of those, over 400 are Christians. Just to think about that.
Catholic is only 27%. Protestant is 56%.
Okay, but they claim all to be Christians, okay? They say Christian, 85% of them. Does Congress look like a Christian?
Not lately.
Okay, so we have to ask ourselves those questions. Our society, probably that reflects society in general, that probably 85% of the US claims to be Christian. Do our societies, communities look like a Christian? So that is the responsibility we have. And we have to question ourselves constantly whether we are actually doing it right. Okay? So the temporal order, we have the duty to be involved in it and to transform it and to plant into it the values of the kingdom of God. So we have so many of us claiming to be Christians, but do we live it? So in the course of history, the use of temporal things has been marred by serious vices. Affected by original sin, men have frequently fallen into many errors concerning the true God. Affected by original sin, men have frequently fallen into many errors concerning the true God, the nature of man, and the principles of the moral law. This has led to the corruption of morals and human institutions, and not rarely to contempt for the human person himself. In our own time, moreover, those who have trusted excessively in the progress of the natural sciences and the technical arts have fallen into an idolatry of temporal things and have become their slaves rather than their masters. Very, very important. So because of original sin, vices crept into human nature. And then affected by those vices, we fall frequently into many errors concerning the true God. And if we err about God, we'll err also about humans. Because humans are the image of God. So if we have false images of God, we'll have a false image of humanity. And it's not basically because of sin, it's sad but not surprising that many Christians have a false image of God. Usually it's a God who agrees with me. Usually it's a God who follows me. Usually it's a God who gives me what I want. If he doesn't, I get mad. Like, toddlers. I get mad. So do we have the true image of God? The true understanding of the nature of God? Or do we make God in our own image? But not we in the image of God. So paganism, what we call paganism, is actually that, humans were, because they are created by God, they have that spiritual void. So if God doesn't reveal himself to us, we have that aptitude to God. But then we want to make God in our own image, because I want a God I can control, depending on my needs and wants. So I want a God I can control. I want a God I can tell what I want, and he delivers right away. But in the end, that God will be me. Okay? Not God. But some of us think that it is God, but it's us. Remember yesterday, the Pharisee stood up and prayed to himself. He wasn't praying to God. No. And prayed to himself. But thinking that he's praying to God, because he had a false image of God. So that's why I have to be keen to church teaching, to know the true God, the nature of the true God, what he has revealed to us about himself, not what I think about him. Usually here Catholics, I don't care what the church teaches. This is between me and my Jesus. The question is, which one? Because the one you're talking about is not the real Jesus, but you claim to be Jesus without saying it explicitly. But the Jesus you're talking about is you. You make yourself God, and therefore you want a Jesus who agrees with you. Not a Jesus you follow, but a Jesus who follows you. So we have to avoid those images, false images of God, and then the false image of ourselves. So if we have a false image of God, then the false image of humanity is false. Basically, we have a false understanding of ourselves, and therefore we are going to debase our dignity because we have a false image of ourselves. So all these things you see, like St. Paul talks about it, Romans chapter 1, men wanting to marry men, women wanting to marry women, men wanting to go surgery to become women, all those kinds of things. All that is debasing ourselves because we have a false image of ourselves. Abortion, those who believe in it, the killing of children in the womb. It's a false image of ourselves. Lack of understanding of who we are. Or social policies that dehumanize others, that treat the poor as inferior to those who have money. All those are false images of humanity. Lack of understanding of the value of the other because of their state in life. Therefore, I'm greater than them. So all those are false images of God and therefore false images of humanity. And they are caused by vice, the consequences of original sin. And so the church continues. This has led to the corruption of morals and human institutions, as we can see, and not really to contempt of the human person himself, contempting each other. Contempting each other. We create certain things in society which could be good, but in the end, they become poisonous, lethal to us. So look at this class right now, the members of this class. Now, we look at ourselves as one, right? So we are Catholics who have come this morning to grow in the understanding of what we believe, right? But if I were to say right now, Democrats on this side, Republicans on this side, what will happen? Yes. How will you look at the other on that side? She's a Democrat? Everything will change. Why? Yeah. He's a Republican, yeah?
I knew it. I knew it.
I can see it in his eyes. You know? Oh, immediately, divisions will take place. Because of something we have created political parties. Not that those things are bad in themselves, but they are prone to creating division among us. And so we have to approach them, in a sensible way. Otherwise, we end up dehumanizing one another. Dehumanizing one another. Losing sight of our value because of what we simply subscribe to be. Now, think about that division is not caused because I'm subscribing to be a Christian, a follower of truth. But now I subscribe to be a Republican or a Democrat. So what is my primary identity from which I proceed? Do I proceed from the essence of who I am? Because, we say that the faith, when we are baptized, our state of life is changed. Now we proceed from Christ. So do I proceed from Christ or do I proceed from liberalism? Do I proceed from Christ or do I proceed from conservatism? What is the core system of my values? So we have always to examine ourselves. In our own time, moreover, those who have trusted excessively in the progress of the natural sciences and the technical arts have fallen into an idolatry of temporal things and have become their slaves rather than their masters. So you're in a constant danger of creating idols. So today, we talked about this earlier in this class, when people were talking about medical inventions, discoveries, they say, oh, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. It's a miracle. It's not a miracle. Because it's knowledge of how the material universe works. All you need is reason. The gift of God gave us to subdue the earth. Miracles are performed by God, not by humans. So if we say that, oh, now humans are performing miracles, who needs God? If we are the miracle workers. So now we begin worshiping humans, worshiping science, worshiping arts. You look at how people worship these so-called stars. I don't know where they dropped it from. They're called the stars. Okay? But let's see how they are basically worshipped. A star, whatever. There was a unique star in Hollywood. I don't know whether you saw it. It was maybe a few years ago. I laughed and laughed and laughed. This was a girl, young girl, dressed in jeans and whatever. So she was a visionary. She was a visionary. She was in Hollywood, but Mary used to come to her. That was her claim, that she would see Mary. So dressed in jeans and then the bodyguards around her, protecting her. Okay. That was another form of a hero, a star. Okay, so she wanted, I think, to be worshipped. So, creating idols, that prevents us from making good use of the gifts God has given to us. So rather than nature enslaving us, we have to be masters of nature. Look at work, human work. Is work a consequence of original sin? Human work.
Yeah.
Is human work, labor, human work, a consequence of original sin?
I think so.
Please answer me. Is human work a consequence of original sin? No. In chapter 2 of Genesis, chapters 1 and 2, God, let's read it. God blessed them, after making them male and female, God blessed them, and God said to them, be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. What is to subdue? Work. And then let's go to chapter 2. Chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. The Lord God then took the man and settled him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Is work a consequence of original sin? No. Work is there in the original plan of God. That's work, human labor, work, not labor. Human work is very good. Why? Because God created, and then he gave us the gift of probing his creation to become co-creators with him, to make the earthly city better. So that's why he gave us the value of work. Work is very good because we become like a co-creators with God. Okay? All these things, electricity, planes, you name it. Okay? Satellites are co-creation, subduing the earth. So it is very good. Human work is very good. It's not a consequence of original sin. Yes?
Well, after they sinned, didn't God tell Adam by the sweating?
This is not before sin. This is
But after.
No, this is not after sin. This is before sin. Okay? So work is not a consequence of original sin. It is there in the original plan of God, and human work is very good because God made us to be co-creators with him. Now, human work was also disfigured by sin, and so it became enslaving after original sin. Work became enslaving. So those of us, sometimes they are called workaholics, so who think that we started work and we have to finish it before we die. So that kind of attitude. So work becomes enslaving. All those who have others who work for them, and you burden them with a lot of work. There's no peace in the workplace. Everybody is tense and afraid. So that's the work now disfigured by original sin. But human work was not meant to be painful. It was meant to be very good. Co-creators with the living God. So that's what that verse is, to go and cultivate it. So the Lord God then took the man and settled him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and to care for it. To cultivate and to care for it. Meaning that I've given you these gifts, you have the responsibility to use them well. Different popes have done this because of their understanding of what we are explaining now. They know this mandate of God to care for creation. Why? Because we are composite creatures. We have a soul and a body. Normally, most of us are going to feed our bodies using food that grows from the earth. So if we poison the earth with chemicals, you name it, but we are going to feed from it, what are we doing? We depend on nature and we're destroying it, therefore we're going to destroy ourselves as well. Okay, so one can have a false religiosity, whatever that, there is no destruction of the environment, where it's a hoax, it's whatever, but it is true. We are depleting the resources as if we're the last generation that we live because of our greed, excessive greed today. We are not good caretakers of creation. So the popes have been explaining to us that we have the duty to take care of creation. Pope Francis wrote a good encyclical on creation. And then when it came out, liberals hijacked it and said, yes, the Pope is for the environment. Okay? And then conservatives said, well, he's a liberal or whatever. So it's like, can't you read the text and see what the Pope is saying? That we are not being good caretakers of creation. I told you, I think, where I come from, growing up. This is just 30, 40 years ago, growing up as a little kid. We had thick, dense forests where we would go as kids, to collect firewood. Huge rivers, flowing through these thick, dense tropical rainforests. So our ancients knew that they depended. Think about it. For us, we think we are very wise. The ancients were much wiser probably than our generation. This is how they preserved nature, at least in my tribe, in our area, because it's very tropical. So they knew how the rains come, that you need nature to be kept intact in certain ways in order to have regular rains. And so there are certain forests, they didn't allow people to touch anything from it, to preserve them. But because they know the stubbornness of humans, this is what they did. They would tell people that in that particular forest, there are evil spirits. And if you touch a single wood from that forest, you are gone, you are done. They take you and you become an evil spirit, like a ghost. And so the elders knew that there is no such a thing. But that's what they had to use to prevent people from destroying nature. So people were so much afraid of those forests. If you have to pass through it, quick, don't turn your eyes around, don't touch anything. And those forests remained intact. Then we had these so-called Pentecostals coming and telling you, touch it, nothing will happen to you, whatever. And then we had a bad politician today who used them forests to fight the previous government. And so when he took power, he just started decimating all forests because he didn't want other people to go into them to fight him. Coupled with the other people, now all these forests are gone. They are all gone completely. In a period of 30 to 40 years, it is all gone. So what is happening now over there? We had regular seasons, 2 rainy seasons and 2 dry seasons, because we were by the equator. Okay, no winter, no whatever. So they were so regular. People knew this month you plant, you prepare the fields, but now you don't know what to do. Rains come anytime, the droughts come, and so the things it's so irregular climate, weather patterns, because we have destroyed nature and we are continuing to destroy it.
South America.
So, but we depend on it. Now, with these rising oceans, many of the lower islands are being submerged. And populations are moving from those lower lands to higher lands. So now there are movements of people. So why anybody who fails to do this is in a cocoon. Anybody who fails to see that something terrible is happening is in simply a cocoon, not realizing what is happening. How many tons of carbon do we release in the air every year? Do you know? How many tons of carbons? Look at the AI. The carbon we release in the air, those carbons that were underground, we are digging them up. Okay, we need them for commerce, to travel and whatever, but now probably there is no regulation. Look at the carbons we release in the air every year. And you will be surprised. It has to do something. It has to affect something because it is too much. How many tons do we release in the air every year? You found it? Look it up very quickly. From hydrocarbons like oil and everything, okay? How many tons? How many?
40 billion metric tons.
Did you hear the figure?
40 billion.
Did you hear the figure? Let's say it louder.
It's 40 billion metric tons of carbon.
40 billion metric tons of what?
Of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere.
Not 40 million, but 40 billion. These things, carbons, have been in the ground for millions of years. But now we found them for good use, but now 40 billion tons. And you're telling me that 40 billion tons of carbon is not affecting the atmosphere in some way every year. One has to be blind not to, or ignorant not to acknowledge that. It is too much. Okay? Carbon gases released into the environment.
Last year,
Hmm?
41.6 billion last year.
Yes. And during COVID, it went down a little bit.
41.6 billion.
Yes. Yes, during COVID, it went down a little bit because nobody was driving. And China got some good air during COVID. No. Because what happens is that humans who have different causes, okay, including evil causes, can take a good cause and hijack it. So that is hijacking a good cause for something that is nonsensical. Okay? Something that is nonsensical. It doesn't mean how many people in the world, drive. Less people than those who drive. So it's just we need to regulate some of these things. It's regulation. Okay? It's regulation. It's not humans that are doing this. As we said before, the 20 richest billionaires on the planet hold the amount of wealth that is equivalent to over 3 billion other people. Yeah, so that's always the problem. So they are taking a good cause and then bringing in an evil cause to justify the evil cause. But those two things are not related. Those are evil hijackers. No, abortion is one of the most the stupidest. Okay? Do you say most stupid or stupidest? Yeah? Project humanity has ever devised. We talked about the example of China. China started that one-child policy in 1983. One-child policy. And they were very adamant about it. And so and since that, because of that one-child policy, to date, they have killed over 400 million children in the womb. 400 million children in the womb. So, going back to what you're saying, now the population of China is aging. They did all that for good economic policies. Now their population is aging, and now they estimate that in order to sustain their growth, guess how many people they need? About 400 million. And now they're advertising how good it is to have 2-3 children and how good it is, and the state is going to help. And the girls are saying, no thanks, it's very expensive to have children.
Even here in the U.S.,
Yeah.
now new generation, they don't want to have kids because they say it's too expensive.
But to counter that, it's too expensive. Some of you who come from parishes like Prince of Peace, St. Anne, St. Christopher's, those 3 parishes, I think, contribute almost maybe 70-80% of our baptisms in the diocese. Yes, those 3 parishes. And we say that they are on the so-called poor side of town. And when you go there, they have so many children. And someone is telling me who lives in Summerlin that children are very expensive. It's a lie. It's a lie. But unfortunately, some people believe it. We're in the same country. How do those poor people manage to have children? And the rich say it's very expensive. What is it?
That's what they say.
Yeah, but it's a lie.
Having kids.
Because we don't know anymore what it means to raise a child. Those people think that to raise a child, they need 100,000 toys. And this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Okay, but children, that's not what really they need. They need siblings to play with, to learn social, moral, intellectual skills from. They're not going to learn social skills from toys, however many you buy. They're going to learn how to be human from other humans. They learn how to work with other people by playing and fighting with other kids. Let's take a break.